Hey everyone, and welcome to our 6th breakdown of the Ahsoka series. This episode was mostly good, but it felt like it ended a bit too quickly. As always, this will contain spoilers, so keep that in mind. The episode starts with the Purrgil traveling between galaxies through hyperspace. As we know from the previous episode, Ahsoka and Huyang are inside the biggest Purrgil, traveling with them and hoping to get to where Sabine is. Ahsoka and Huyang talk about the history of the galaxy, which is a collection of 3 stories that have been told to the younglings, back at the Jedi Temple. Although Ahsoka grew fond of those stories, she doesn't really want to hear one, because she is bothered by something. And that something is, well, the fact that Sabine willingly went with Baylan Skoll and Morgan Elizabeth. And Ahsoka partly blames herself for this, as she thinks she's the reason Sabine did that, and it was because she wasn't prepared well enough to make a better decision. She then changes her mind and asks Huyang to tell her one of the history of the galaxy stories. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, Huyang says. I see what you did there, Huyang. We're then on Morgan Elizabeth's ship, where Sabine is held captive. She is then taken from her cell to the deck of the ship. They finally arrive at the destination and exit hyperspace. They arrive in the Peridias system, the ancient homeworld of the Dathomiri, and also a place where the Purrgil would come to die at the end of their migration. They get a beacon signal from the planet's surface, and land on a huge structure that looks like some sort of castle. We can also see a couple of other tall statues that emerge from the lifeless surface of the graveyard planet. They land on the top of the castle and meet 3 great mothers of the Night Sisters. The witches welcome Morgan Elizabeth and ask her if she heard their call in the dream, to which Morgan responds that yes, their visions guided her through her mission. Morgan then asks about Thrawn, and the witches tell her that he is coming. One of the Night Sisters says that it reeks of Jedi, and they all look at Sabine. Now, I don't actually think they detected Sabine here. I think they sensed Baylan and Shin, because Sabine is obviously not a Jedi. But they still take Sabine to a cell, just to make sure that this quote-unquote Jedi is in a safe place. After she is taken, Baylan and Shin have a very interesting conversation. Baylan talks about his past, about how he watched the Jedi Temple burn when he was the same age as Shin, about the fact that he couldn't make sense of that incident at the time. But as he got older, he realized that those incidents are inevitable. That the cycle of the Jedi falling and threats like the Empire rising are just inevitable cycles that are bound to repeat throughout history. This is clearly foreshadowing the rise of the First Order, so we know that Baylan was right about that. Shin then asks if now is perhaps their turn to get a taste of that power, but Baylan appears to be uninterested about that power. He thinks the power is short-lived and is interested about the beginning, as he wants to bring that vicious cycle to an end. Now, do you guys remember when I mentioned that Skoll and Hati are 2 wolves chasing the sun and the moon? 2 opposites that might as well have completely different goals. I think their conversation just showed the first glimpse of that. Back in Sabine's cell, we can see another attempt of her trying to use the Force, and well, she fails. However, a distant noise can be heard, and this noise comes closer and closer every second. A Star Destroyer is revealed, and it looks like it was repaired with a golden material. This is obviously the Chimera, Thrawn's ship, that we've seen being taken through hyperspace at the end of the Rebels show. The ship lowers its altitude until the top of the Night Sisters tower is inside its docking bay. We can see hundreds of stormtroopers inside the docking bay. Their armors are different, patched with that golden material we've seen on the Star Destroyer. They're all chanting Thrawn's name as he slowly approaches from behind his troops. He salutes the Great Mothers and presents Enoch, the captain of Thrawn's guard. Now, Enoch looks different from the other stormtroopers. His helmet has a golden mask carved into it, which looks similar to the Night Sister statues we've seen earlier. This clearly shows the close relationship between Thrawn's Night Troopers and the Night Sisters. Their armors were modified with their help, and who knows, maybe they were trained by them as well. Or even worse, maybe they are reanimated corpses like Marok, held together by Night Sister magic. Thrawn tells Morgan that he agreed to transport some cargo from the Night Sisters, and apparently this will take 3 rotations. We don't really know what that cargo is, perhaps something that Thrawn will use when he's back. The Night Sisters tell Thrawn of a prisoner that was brought, that prisoner being Sabine Wren. Baylan says that he chose to bring her there. And once Morgan mentions his name, Thrawn recognizes Baylan's call, General of the Jedi Order. We know that Thrawn has worked with Jedi in the past, during the times of the Republic, including Anakin Skywalker. He also worked with Darth Vader, and he was one of the few people who managed to figure out Vader's identity on his own. Baylan says that he walked away from the Order, to which Thrawn replies that he wouldn't be the first, perhaps referring to Anakin. Thrawn also recognizes Sabine Wren's name, and asks for her to be brought before him. After she's brought to him, Thrawn says that he's willing to thank her for helping him escape exile. Sabine asks about Ezra and Thrawn says that he'll honor her deal with Baylan's call. He'll give her provisions, a mount, and intel about Ezra's location. But she must know that once his ship departs, she'll be stranded forever. And she's okay with that. Yeah, I have no idea whether Sabine had a plan here. To me it looks like a lose-lose situation. But anyway, she's taken to her mount, which is a horse-dog kind of creature, and then she rides away into the distance as Thrawn, Morgan, Baylan and Shin watch her from afar. Thrawn then orders Baylan and Shin to follow Sabine, and kill her and Ezra if they manage to find each other. After the pair leaves, Thrawn shows his true intentions to Morgan, telling her that he's willing to leave Baylan and Shin stranded there too. Ah, good old Thrawn, being the classic snake that he is. Anyway, we're back with Sabine. She comes across some bandits and manages to defend herself against them. And then her horse dog finds a little weird creature hiding under a rock. This creature recognizes the Rebel/New Republic symbol on Sabine's shoulder, because it also has one on its necklace, and apparently also knows where Ezra is. Gotta be honest here, I thought that finding Ezra would be more of a journey and it would take longer, but apparently not. Anywho, Baylan and Shin are on her tail, and also come across those bandits. Sabine is then led by the small creatures, yes, there are more now, to their village where she finally meets Ezra. Again, I feel like this moment would have had more value if we would have seen a longer journey, but it's fine I guess. Surely enough, Ezra is happy to see her and very curious about the way she managed to get there and find him. Oh man, will he have a good time once he finds out that she basically nullified his sacrifice. But yeah, we're back with Thrawn, Morgan and the Night Sisters, and they find out about Ahsoka approaching. Thrawn asks for all the information he can get about her, including her master. It will be great to see his reaction when he finds out it is Anakin. And the episode pretty much ends there. I've got to say the build up to the next episode is very intense, but there are still so many unanswered questions. Like how did Ezra escape Thrawn and manage to live so close to him for so long? What happened to Thrawn's stormtroopers, and what were their benefits from their relationship with the Night Sisters? But we'll talk about that in my next video, where we'll discuss those things in more detail. But yeah, please let me know what you guys thought of this episode. As always, may the Force be with you, and bye bye.